Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and our community.
Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with Black non-believers in our community. My name is Edith Gray, and I am your host for the show today. If you are new to the channel, In the Cut is a production of Black Non-Believers, a 501c3 organization headquartered in the Atlanta area. We connect with other Blacks and allies who are living free of religion and might otherwise be shunned by friends and family by providing a caring, friendly, and informative community. Instead of accepting dogma, we determine truth and morality through reason and evidence. The mission of non-believers, of Black non-believers, is to provide secular fellowship. We nurture and support non-believers in coming out. We encourage pride in non-religious identities. We educate the public on the history and current state of non-belief in the Black community. We organize events and charitable causes. You can find us at BlackNonbelievers.org. Black Non-Believers welcomes all, regardless of age, gender identity, sexual identity, national origin, or racial identity. However, our content and our work prioritizes Black non-religious voices. At this time, I want to welcome founder and president of Black Non-Believers, Mandisa Thomas, to the show. Hey, Mandisa, how are you?
Hey, Edith. I'm doing all right. I'm dealing with now the fall and the seasonal stuff. Like the sinuses and everything down here in Georgia, it can be a bit of a mess. So, just dealing with that for right now. And, but so far so good. Thank you for being here today. And I'm always excited about our guests, but I'm really excited about our upcoming guest. I've been trying to get her for a while, and so glad that she's going to be here joining us today. And before we get started, I'd like to ask for a special assistance. Lisa Staten Dyer, she's been a long time board member, and supporter from day one. She is dealing with a financial crisis at the moment, and she needs our help. We have organized a GoFundMe for her, which we have contributed to. And if you could help, if you ever know Lisa, she is one of the sweetest people ever. I joke with her and I tell her that she has to give me whatever's devil elixir she uses for her fountain of youth, because she is almost 60 and she just looks fantastic. But she just, if you click on the link that will be shared in the chat, she's just a wonderful, wonderful person. I know she has shared her journey on like Instagram and YouTube, and what BN means to her and why she is so supportive of our organization. And right now she needs our help with an immediate like medical situation. So if you could contribute to the GoFundMe that will be linked in the chat, we really, really appreciate it. And she's also on Cashapp. Her Cashapp is listed in the description. So if you prefer to donate directly to her through Cashapp, you can do that as well. Lisa's definitely has been more behind the scenes of Black Non-Believers. She's been active on her social media, on her Facebook and her Instagram. But yeah, she has just been extremely fantastic about her continued support for the organization, whether it is through helping us with policies and how we improve at an organizational level, as well as her financial support for us. And so we really would appreciate if more people followed her example by not just supporting BN, but also supporting her in her time of need, because this is what we do as a community. When people need support, when people get into a state of, when they need immediate financial assistance, this is what we bring our members together to do, as well as do this as an organization, because we want people to know that, we care about our community members as well as a community at large. And if there is a need especially financial that is immediate, then we want to pull together and support each other on this. Edith, I know you've never met Lisa. I'm not sure if you've ever. She reminds me of you. Y'all are just y'all are so very beautiful, and people are like, really, y'all are how old? But it's just one of those things where and Lisa just has such a young spirit as well, for lack of a better word. And so I just love her to pieces. And it would just really mean a lot to me in the organization if we could pull together to help her.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is well said. And yes, it is about how we build community. We have come out. Some of us are out atheists, and we know that there aren't very many of us around. So this is why we try to build community in any way we can, because we know that we're, again, a minority within a minority, and we can't really all the time look to our religious friends or our religious community to help in a time of need. We know that we've seen that model done in some religious circles, where you get up on Sunday and you say, hey, this person needs this. So not that we want to mimic any of the cultish things that are going on in the religious part of our communities, but we want to support our members. We want to support anyone who is a Black non-believer, be they part of our actual organization or not. But here we have a situation where we have a BN board member who is looking for support. So we need to get on that. We definitely do.
Yes, and I know I have needed support in the past, and other members have needed support in the past, and I truly appreciate everyone who has lent their support for me personally, as well as for the organization, because again, that is how we continue our important work. So, with that being said, next, before we get started with our interview, we are pleased to share our Hurston Scholarship winner for 2024, who is David Anezi. He is a student at New Manchester High School and plans to attend Georgia State University upon graduating. He is LGBTQ, and he has been active in his high school with secular activism. So we are very pleased to share our scholarship winner for the year, and we're going to try to get him on the show so that he can talk more about what he's been doing, what he plans to do with his college career, and beyond, and also how we can help support him beyond the scholarship. Because again, one of the aspects is we are very, very big on education and supporting our young Black non-religious students. And so, we definitely would like for you to meet him, and definitely, and all of the scholarship winners through the Secular Student Alliance who have won scholarships that were awarded jointly with other organizations as well. Again, we co-sponsor the Hurston Scholarship, which is named after noted freethinker Zora Neale Hurston. That is our commitment to education and to our future. And so we appreciate the Secular Student Alliance for their continued partnership on this initiative, and allowing us the opportunity to do so as well. So again, this is part of what your support allows us to do, which is, again, our philanthropic and charitable efforts, especially when it comes to education, whether it is through immediate support for members, as well as being able to continue our outreach and do our events, and also just provide the much needed community and advocacy that is needed. So thank you all once again for that. And so, we're going to try to get David on the show so that you can hear more and learn more about him, as well as his college, as well as his his journey. So Edith, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, yeah, I just think it's great. We have this scholarship in the name of Zora Neale Hurston, one of my favorite authors. And once I found out that she was a free thinker, even more admiration and inspiration. But yes, and you, I think you mentioned his high school is New Manchester. Is that in Georgia, or is it, this is sounds like it's not in Georgia?
It may not be. I need to find out a bit more, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's definitely in high school, but he is planning to attend college in Georgia.
Yes, and if you didn't already mention it, all of these scholarship winners are in the chat or available in the comments of this YouTube stream. So yeah, that's great news. And like I said, we're gonna jump on this GoFundMe for Lisa, and then we're going to look for more information and maybe an interview with David later. All right, I think we're ready. Now it is our pleasure to welcome our special guest, Nikki G. Nikki G is a certified trauma recovery coach who helps survivors recover and thrive after religious trauma and cult involvement. She is also a survivor of multiple narcissistic relationships, religious trauma, as well as a former member of multiple cult communities. Nikki is the CEO of Nikki G Speaks LLC, which exists to support survivors with individual coaching services, an online community, and other various forms of psychoeducation related to religious trauma, narcissistic abuse, and cult involvement. Nikki is a co-host of the podcast Surviving the Black Church, where she and co-hosts delve into conversations regarding religious trauma in the Black church. She and another colleague recently founded the Black Religious Trauma Recovery Network, a resource to educate, support, and empower Black religious trauma survivors. Nikki also sits on the board of directors as well as facilitates online support groups for a nonprofit organization, Tears of Eden, which supports survivors who have experienced abuse in the evangelical community. Nikki is a member of the IAOTRC, International Association of Trauma Recovery Coaching, where she co-facilitated a religious trauma cohort for coaches in 2022. Nikki has been a guest on podcasts such as Indoctrination Podcast, Survivors Discuss, Deeper Pulse, and Uncertain Podcast, where she has expounded on topics such as identifying religious cults, an insider's view on Christian nationalism, religious abuse within the NAR community, and much more. Nikki continues to keep abreast of the latest information regarding spiritual abuse, cults, and how trauma and abuse affects survivors. And she educates and empowers survivors to reclaim their lives and embrace the journey to come back home to self. Welcome to the show, Nikki.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that warm introduction.
Thank you for being here. So as we ask all our guests, please tell our audience and about your upbringing and how you arrived at your current perspective.
Okay, I know we don't have 5 hours, so I'll condense some of it. But yes, I grew up in a predominantly religious, narcissistic family system. So what that looked like, I was raised in a Black church. My mom was more of the narcissistic person who evolved the whole family around her. And so a lot of the upbringing, I was indoctrinated with a ton of religious beliefs, but a lot of that upbringing programmed me to be disconnected from myself, disconnected from what reality was for me. And I learned to connect with authority figures' version of reality. And so a lot of that, you'll see some of that in narcissistic abuse. You'll see that in religious indoctrination, where a person, just give you an example, the sky is blue, but you get the gaslighting where you're told the sky is brown over and over again. And then eventually you start to question yourself, question your reality. And so a lot of that was programmed in my family of origin. And basically to believe that the authority figure, what they said was gold, what they said was Bible, what they said was God. And, obviously all of this was happening subconsciously and I wasn't aware of it growing up. But the childhood trauma, a lot of times those markers show up in adulthood. And so as I got older, I was attracted to a lot of toxic people, toxic relationships. I got saved at the age of 19, and aside from the church that I grew up in, a Baptist church, the first real community that I connected with after being saved was predominantly Black, filled with a lot of young adults. And that was my first time entering an official cult. I say my family of origin was kind of my first cult, because that is what that programming, that template is what I copied and pasted throughout a lot of my religious experiences along the way. And so, just connecting with these different groups, it really had grave impact on me. But a lot of it I wasn't aware of, and this is why in my biography, my bio, I state about me being involved in multiple cults. I was involved in 5 different cults over the course of my life, and I did something that is a term in the cult world called cult hopping. And so I'm going from one place to another, searching for a lot of different things. But because it's kind of indoctrinated in you at an early age, especially in the Black church, if you're not in church, you're not in God. If you're not in church, then you are open prey for the enemy's advances. You're going to hell, all this type of terminology. And so when I would leave one cultic community, whether I realized it was a cultic community or not, I found myself desperately seeking, I have to be in another house of worship. I have to be in a church, without being able to have time to process a lot of what I experienced. Just like, if you're in a romantic relationship with somebody and it doesn't work out, or it's abusive, something that would be normal and natural for that person after they exit that is to take time to assess what they've been through, what they've experienced. There's different lessons, different things they can learn for the next relationship they may come into. I did not have that time in between, because I was so indoctrinated that I had to be in a house of worship, and I had to have a covering, if you will. This is a very popular language within the Black church. And so this is how I kept repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again until, the final cult. I think the last 2 cults that I was in really had a significant impact on me. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. And I started to realize, like, wait a minute, okay, Nikki, you're the common denominator here. Let's start to understand what you've been through. And I started to, come away, and I'm like, I'm not touching a church right now. I need to process what I've been through. But in the previous cults, I did try to do some processing, but a lot of times, often it was very spiritual. It was spiritualized. So I would go to the Bible to try to understand what I just experienced in a previous cult. But this time, after my last cult, I started to go outside of the church and outside of religion's terminology and outside of Christian counselors. And this is when I started to read material about narcissism, the material about religious abuse. I started to read material about cult involvement with some of prominent cult experts on the planet, and it really helped me to understand. The dust started to settle, the salt stick was waved in my face, so to speak, and I began a journey to start realizing basically what the hell I had been in, and how disconnected from myself I was majority of my life in all of these different cults. And so in the beginning, the journey was just solely for me. Then the journey was for my who is now 23-year-old daughter, because she has been through all the different cults with me growing up. As a matter of fact, the first official cult that was predominantly Black that I was in, she is the grandchild of the cult leader. So you can imagine what that story even was like for me, and dealing with all of that. But I wanted to get healing, perspective, and understanding for myself, and then for my daughter, so we can start breaking some of these generational cycles. And so, going through all that, I had no idea that I would be doing the work that I'm doing now. I had no plans. It was really for me to heal and help my daughter and start, breaking up some of these cycles in my family line. But in 2020, the pandemic happened, and I got on the social app called Clubhouse. And I started sharing my story, not with the intention to do this work, but just, I was in rooms, we were having the conversation, I started sharing. And that's when I realized, like, wait a minute, maybe I should be doing this more. And so I started a club called Spiritual Abuse and Cults. It's still there, and I ran that for about 2.5 years. And I met a lot of amazing people in the Black community, white community, just humanity in and of itself. And they started telling their stories, and they started sharing. Some people for the first time in their lives. Um, Others would come in and just realizing for the first time in their lives, oh my goodness. So what I'm dealing with now, it's not me. That was religious trauma. That was because I was religiously abused. And, it started to really grow. And myself and my colleagues that I work with now, we met at Clubhouse too, and we just started having a lot of conversations and saying, okay, a lot of people in the Black community are sharing, and a lot of them, the average person is saying they did not realize that this has happened to them until now. How can we bring more resources to our community to understand religious abuse, cult abuse, narcissistic abuse in the church? How to see how this has impacted our family dynamics, our generational line, how to help people acclimate the journey going forward. Because those who've been through religious abuse and trauma and things of that nature, when they come out and they start to settle in their body, they start to come to their humanity, they start to come out of disassociation, they start to come out of the spell, if you will, of what they've been indoctrinated with, then many are presented with choices. I say, almost like a buffet table. And some may try, some may say, you know what? I don't want anything to do with religion anymore. I don't want anything to do with church anymore. I prefer to not be a believer of anything. And we support them in that place. Some people say, you know what? I want to dabble a little bit in spirituality. I don't think organized religion is for me anymore. We support them in that place. Some people say, hey, I'm going to hold on to the faith, but I don't want to be a part of an organized religious structure anymore. And that is where we meet survivors at. And it's not our place to tell them what lane they should go in. That is something that they have to come to the conclusion themselves. But this is a little bit about my journey, my upbringing, and how I got started in the work that I'm doing now. So I'll pause there because that was a lot.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. I wanted to back up a little bit and ask you, when you first started making your way out of the multiple cults that you were in, what
Uh-huh.
was it that even prompted you to say, okay, I don't want to go for any more religious counseling to solve my issues? You had said that you started reading things outside of, or started looking
Mhm.
at resources outside of any religious structure. Do you recall if there was a specific point in time, or what was the thought that made you say, hey, I can go outside of this structure?
It took a while. It took a while. Initially, and just personally, I'm the type of person where I'm not content with just going through something and then just saying, okay, it's over. I want to know why. I love to research. I want to get to the root of the matter. And so initially, I was reading books by some cult experts, Stephen Hassan, Dr. Yanya Lalich, Margaret Sanger. And Rick Allen Ross, and they talked a lot about cults. And so I just immersed myself in the education aspect of it, which was huge because a lot of the cults I was in, it's all about information control. So it's whatever the cult says you should read, listen to, connect with. I was a believer. I was one of them. I was one of those. I didn't need you to just indoctrinate me when I was in service. I'm going to continue that indoctrination at home. I'm going to immerse myself. So I was one that gave my everything. So for me to get to the point where I'm looking outside of all of that, that shows the degree of what I call spiritual violence that I experience in these places, in these cults. from the narcissistic abuse and, the public humiliation, the prophetic love bombing, the financial exploitation, the emotional exploitation, the gaslighting, all of that culminated to the point I was done. I didn't have answers, but it didn't feel safe to find answers anymore within religion. And so when people are feeling afraid and not safe, if the frog in front of you has safety, you're probably going to go talk to the frog a little bit. So I was coming out of religion and looking for things outside of that, more scientifically based, more in reality, but I still felt afraid. I still felt like I'm connecting with something demonic. And that kind of has been my journey even up until now, being able to be curious and explore and learn different things than what I was taught. I do it afraid, so to speak, and I tell myself, "Okay, Nikki, you have choice in this." So if you're curious and you start to explore, if you don't like it, if it feels unsafe, you can always pull out. And so
Right.
I've let that be my personal barometer so I didn't get stuck in between. I don't want religion anymore, but I don't want to explore and grow to see what I want to affiliate with now. A lot of people get stuck right in that dire strait in the middle. And for me, evolution, my own personal evolution was so important. So I didn't want to get stuck, but it took time for me to be able to explore and grow. And my desire to be curious, I'm curious and I want to know why. So I think that helped me a lot in my journey.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. Just one other thing I wanted to say before there was a point where, you discussed the hopping between the different groups and cults. And to me, it is sort of akin to an addiction. You get addicted to having this sort of narcissistic influence in your
Mhm.
life, and it's hard to break free. Even if you even knew that's what it was, it's still hard to not be dependent on that.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
guess I'm just congratulating you for being able to break free of that, and then also understand that yes, it's hard to break free of that dependency.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Absolutely.
so, why is it important to have religious trauma recovery services specifically for the Black community?
This is a biggie. Our experiences don't look like others' experiences. The way we express ourselves, the way we connect with one another, the way we sing our songs, who we are as a people. I've been in a lot of spaces that are predominantly white when it comes to religious trauma, and while I'm grateful for some of the pioneer work that they have done on this topic, religious trauma or even cults, if you will. I understand as a Black woman that a lot of my experiences would not be covered, would not be researched, would not be touched. And I learned to take what I could, learn what I could to help myself. But there was always this ache in me to say, where are the resources for my people? Black Americans in America, 8 out of 10 of us identify as Christian. 8 out of 10. So, if 8 out of 10 identifies as Christian, and let's say out of that 8, there may be 5 or 6 out of that 8 that eventually experience religious trauma, religious abuse, where would they go to get resources? Who can they connect with for people to understand what they've been through, can help them process their pain, can help them process a lot of the abuse. And a lot of this abuse and trauma is generational because we as a people, like I said, we identify so much, and especially in this nation, with the Christian faith. There's no resources. So a lot of times, a lot of us go into predominantly white spaces and we get some information, but it's not enough. You can't speak the language of, well, the church mother rebuked me in the parking lot in front of my child and my family and told me I'm not allowed to come back to the church unless I fully surrender to God. It's hard to talk about what happens when, a so-called prophet gets on the microphone and calls you out in the middle of a service and calls you, this, that, and the third, that you're unholy and you're a heathen because, there's certain experiences that really just really resonate with us as a people, and a lot of them won't be covered in non-Black spaces, as far as religious trauma recovery. And as I've been connecting with those spaces that are non-Black, many of them realize, hey, we can't touch this. We wish we could. I've met therapists and other mental health professionals and practitioners that say, hey, I'm not Black, but I wish I could help support Black survivors, but that is not my story. That is not my experience. And so I feel like there is a great need. And even in the cult space, I would even furthermore say in the cult space, a lot of Black religious people are not aware that their church was actually a cult. What they experienced was actually cultic abuse. And there's certain stigmas in the Black community, even when it comes to cult experiences. The stigma is cults, that's a white person's problem. I mean, aside from the Jim Jones cult with the purple Kool-Aid, that's probably where we were overly involved, but that was a long time ago. And when I look at cult documentaries now on TV, they're all white. So that has nothing to do with the Black experience. We're not dumb enough to fall for that. We're good. We use our common sense. And so people don't often realize that there's a problem with cults in our community. And, I sum all that up to say there's a great need for religious trauma recovery and cult recovery in our community.
Yes, I'm here. I'm subbing a bit for Edith. She's
Okay.
having a bit of an internet issue. And
Okay.
so thank you for that, because this definitely falls in line with the work that we do here at Black Nonbelievers. When we're talking about the history and the psychosis of religion and
Yes.
how we were indoctrinated, there's definitely, and because the identity of the church and the concept of God seems to be inseparable
Hmm.
from our identity as Black folks. People don't
Hmm.
realize how cult like that is.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think that is, yeah, you are absolutely right that
Hmm.
there are aspects of this that cannot really be addressed and also resolved
Right.
by no one else but us. It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even to just feel comfortable enough to share our stories. Myself and my colleague, we are running online free support online support groups for the Black community who've experienced religious trauma, and a lot of them have been saying, I'm finding space and being able to express what I've not been able to express in non-Black spaces with religious trauma. I had to hold back a big part of my story because I don't think that they would understand or be well received. And I've connected with a lot of white non-believers, and someone actually asked me this, and she said, I hope I'm not being offensive when I ask you this. I really want to understand, I really want to know. She said the origin of how Black people became connected with Christianity, when you peel that back and you really begin to look at it, you begin to look like how we started the institution of the Black church and how it got started and what was stripped from us and where we are now. She said, how is it that Blacks are still believers in Christianity? She was like, I'm trying not to be offensive. I just want to understand. And I started to explain to her the trauma bond that we have to the religion, the trauma bond that we have to the Bible, the trauma bond that we have to the actual institution in and of itself. When we talk about statistics, 8 out of 10, that's a lot. Black Americans make up the most religious and the most active in this whole country as far as a people group. So, that means I'm going to Starbucks, I bump into somebody in line, older Black mom. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. I'm the head and I'm not the tail. I am blessed all the time. How about you? And I'm like, whoa, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for bumping into you. But you get a lot of that religious elitism and the assumption that because if I walk in a Starbucks and you're Black and I'm Black, that I am a Christian or I affiliate with the Christian religion. And so there's a lot of layers for people. You talked about earlier, Edith, about my personal journey breaking free. Everyone's will be different, but for us to come out all the way out of that, it is a lot. There's a lot of loss of community, definitely a lot of loss of family, a lot of loss of friends. Like, what are we going to do now? There are a lot of fears, components, and I think a lot of people stay because they don't want to deal with what I call going down this proverbial hallway of rediscovery and evolution and being connected back to ourselves and our humanity. And, a lot of that sounds more scary than to just, how it is. I know this demon, I know this abuse is familiar to me, so I'll just stay here
Right.
versus going out to what we think is a void, but it's really not. We
Mhm.
have the Black non-believers community, the awesome things that you guys are doing. There is community here, but we've been indoctrinated to believe that if the only place you can get community is within the church or any religious structure, and it's a lie. It's a lie. It's not true.
It's definitely not the case. Yeah, there is that fear of the unknown.
Yeah, yeah,
And this is one thing, about religion is everything is known and set in stone. And if you know everything, how can you ever question and grow?
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So that is an unfortunate thing that religious folks have to deal with because it leaves so much out of their purview. It leaves so much out of their vision. So
Hmm,
yeah.
hmm.
So how have your services been received, and what do you think is the future of religious trauma recovery for our community?
Well, one-on-one clients, I'm hoping it's been received well. I believe so. I enjoy seeing my clients walk along with them in that process of self-discovery, and most importantly, I like to empower them with choice and agency because that's what was taken from us in these religious communities, in these spaces where we had to basically suppress who we are, suppress our identity, suppress our sexual orientation, suppress our critical thinking skills and our healthy skepticism and become what they wanted us to be. So it is a beautiful journey for me, at least, to walk alongside survivors starting to discover choice, even from, do I want to do this career? Do I want to move to this state? Do I want a red car or a blue car? And that may seem very frivolous, but for those who have been indoctrinated, just making a choice without the prophet's leadership or someone going to God for you and then coming back with the answer, it is a whole new world of discovery. And I really enjoy empowering my clients one on one. But my favorite thing to do is lead support groups. I personally like to sit right where people have been discarded by family, by religion, and by society. And I like to meet them in that place and infuse hope and infuse how beautiful they are, their intrinsic value on the inside is, and helping to fan that flame so that they can see that in themselves and be empowered to move forward without prophetic guidance or looking outside of themselves for the answers that are already within. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the podcast that we're doing. We're presently working on season 2, and we're going to start incorporating guests. Um, but as far as the expansion of religious trauma recovery work in the Black community, I'm not a stingy person. I do realize that this work is humongous. It's going to take more than just Black non-believers or Surviving the Black Church podcast. We need more of us out there speaking, writing books, creating documentaries, creating songs. We need to get all in society and bring hope to our people who have been silently suffering with religious trauma and religious and cult abuse for decades and generationally. And so I'm encouraged anytime I see a new platform started and it's one of us. If I can, I'm reaching out. How can I support you? Do you need anything? Because this is so important and it's going to take all hands on deck to do it because we are bumping up against an entire, if you will, mountain. And sometimes it can feel like you have a toothpick trying to bring that mountain down. But I think we work better as collectives, connecting. And we may not all agree with everything, but that's not the goal anyway. For me, with what I do, I feel it's important to bring awareness. Many of our people don't even realize we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok. Don't let me start quoting the movie, but we don't realize that. And so, kind of like Harriet Tubman, if you will, going back into those places to bring light and awareness so that we can see, wait a minute, I have been abused. It's okay to say that. I've been religiously abused. It's okay. I don't have to have shame about it. And now there are resources available to help me work through that and become a better version of myself. So my heart is that this work grows beyond anything I touch, beyond anything you all touch, or we need all hands on deck. So yeah.
Yeah, I have one question for you, Nikki. So I
Mhm.
know you said you started out in Clubhouse and you were connecting with people like online and what was it like for you to find out that there was an organization like Black Nonbelievers and that there were already people out there, doing this work, even though there
Mhm.
does need to be more of us. What was it like for you to find that? I mean, I know it was exciting for me, to find the people I found when I came out. But what was it like for you to find out that there were already people out here doing this
Mhm.
work?
I mean, it was very comforting, and a side note, I found out about you, Mandisa, and the organization through Janice Selby with her conferences that she had. And I know you spoke at a couple of them. And I was like, okay, we got a sister up in here and she's doing the stuff. And I just, I think it's a beautiful thing. And in the space that I ran in Clubhouse, this was kind of like a motto that I tried to adhere to. This will be a space where we all gonna coexist. So if you are a pastor or you are an evangelist or whatever, you can find safety here. If you're a survivor, you can find safety here. If you're an atheist, if you're a person that's in spirituality, we're going to highlight humanity in this space, and we're gonna learn to kind of walk together and coexist. And some people did not like that, so some people try to come off mic and defend the institution. I said, no, 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 we're not doing that. That's for another room. I'm not here to argue. We're here to highlight survivors and their stories. And we're here to highlight the unique ways that people are finding recovery. It may not be your lane, but that's okay, baby. This is not that type of space. And so, because that was the foundation, I got to meet some awesome non-believers. I got to meet some awesome people that are more in the humanity area, people that are, and I enjoyed talking to all of them. There was some beautiful value in each lane that people found themselves in, and it helped me. I'll be vulnerable. It helped me to not go from being in a church and judging people who were not saved and in the church, coming out of the church and now judging the people that are still in the indoctrination, because you can go on the other way. It is extremely possible to go the other way. I try to hold my heart posture and look at humanity, look at them from a humane standpoint versus, because two seconds ago I was them, so
Right.
how can I judge, so go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, yes, recognizing the humanity is really, really important.
Hmm.
And especially, when you talk about the Black community, because it's always been a problem when you know, put that into the perspective of following a white religion.
Hmm.
Um, But no, there was one question in the chat. I don't know if this is something that you've experienced. Do you have trouble finding clients? This came from Sheldon Lamy. Hey, Sheldon.
Hey, Sheldon, thanks for that question. Um, I would say yes and no. For the season I'm in my life, I am doing one-on-one clients, but I'm doing more collaborative work with support groups and speaking and things of that nature. So my caseload with one-on-one is reduced, but that's because I need space to do all the other things. But to answer your question a little bit more succinctly, I always say religious trauma survivors, black, white, whatever, are actually looking for resources more than coaches are looking for clients. You see
Gotcha.
what the need and the
Right.
demand is really great. So I feel like it's my responsibility to some degree to help make myself more visible,
Right.
make
Hang
the
out your
communities
shade.
I'm connecting with more visible so that people are aware that there are resources that exist, and then even so once they're aware, it takes a lot for people to show up in these spaces. They may think, oh, mama and them may find out I'm in this group, or connecting with survivors in the UK. Something that I learned is that a lot of them deal with people snitching. So if you like pictures, if you like things on social media, if you're attending groups and it's known social media wise, they really have to do a lot of hiding to
Mhm.
avail themselves to some of these resources. And that's just, oh, that's so disheartening. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mandisa, did you have some other questions, or can we take another one from the chat? Maybe.
I don't. There was a troll in there earlier, but I
I see.
Uh-oh.
I have a question, Nikki. We have an event coming up next year. Will you mark your
Mm-hmm.
calendar from March 21st to the
Uh-oh.
23rd for an event
Okay.
that we are going to be putting on? Because I think that speaking on religious trauma and letting people know that this is a viable resource is going to be
Mm-hmm.
very, very important. So we'll definitely talk more, because the one
Sure.
thing we love to
Sure.
do, the one thing we love to do here at Black Nonbelievers is for folks to know who is doing the work in the community and how we can
Right.
all work together. So, yes,
Right.
can I ask you to mark your calendar?
Oh, I'll put it down. I'll put it down.
Yeah.
We will work that out. And being a little bit more vulnerable. I'm an introvert, y'all. It may not seem like it, but I really am. So I like to be in my house and, reading and watching stuff and learning and healing. And so this is a lot, to that question that Sheldon asked about, is it hard for me to break through the community? I have to work personally with myself to even put myself in front of the community. Because I'm going to be honest, y'all, when it comes to religion and our people, that trauma bond is so tight and fused. It takes a community to be able to shake it loose. And I was gonna say something, but I don't know if I want to say that. Well, I can say that. And like, how just like for the white community, they love their national anthem. They will get fiery mad about their national anthem and that flag. We get mad in our community when you had a troll in here earlier when it comes to the Bible, when it comes to the institution of the church. And I'll say this, because of this work for our people, it has to look different. I speak in non-black spaces, and I support survivors in non-black spaces, but for our people, I have to slow it down and I have to basically almost be in the middle of the road. I cannot present myself as biased on any lane that they choose to be in, because many are so indoctrinated. If you come hard and fast and harsh, they can't hear. They will immediately not hear. So it's not being disingenuous, but it's honoring where they are, honoring where they've been, and pulling back the curtain so they can see where they could go, who they can be without this over dependency on religion. And so it takes a lot of tact. It's an interesting dance. I'm not perfect, so I don't always meet the mark, but my heart is honoring where you are and letting you know, baby, it's a buffet. You don't have to live in the fishbowl swimming in the ocean. Do you know how big this world is? And that is one of the things that I'm enjoying post, church, post all of that religion, is that I'm finding parts about myself that I didn't know. I'm meeting some awesome people that I would have never met had I been staunched in this religion. What demon do you have? What's your generational line look like? The
Right.
crazy stuff. And
Yeah.
so life and vitality has come back to me because of exploration, curiosity, connecting with people that, it's enjoyable. And we don't have to be in a fishbowl, y'all.
Right.
I'm
Right.
just saying.
So, right. Yeah, and it's that journey that you're talking about. That journey back to who you really are. It's
Yes.
that is yeah, and that there's no that's just priceless. That journey back to yourself and all of the rediscoverings of who you are and who you could be is
Right,
really
right.
beyond words.
It
So
is, and I
yeah,
think it starts a journey once you're able to start connecting with self. Once you start dismantling these beliefs that this is a body filled with sinful nature and all that dehumanizing indoctrination. Once you can start wading through that, then what happens in our communities? Then you start breaking cycles in our generational lines. Because I'm telling you, when I look at some of my client stories and I hear some of the things in the support group and I see how religion has divided the Black family, we look at systemic racism, and that is a big factor in separating and dismantling our family. But I'm sorry, I will put religion almost up under that. The stories I hear is so disheartening. And I'm going to leave this quote. It is not mine, but it originated out of one of the members of the support group earlier this year. And I don't even think she realized what she said. She was talking about some of her family dynamics with religion, and it just flew out her mouth. She said, "Religion has been the parent of my parents." And we all got quiet when she said that. And I'm like, do you know what you just said? Because as religion has been the parent of her parents, what happened to the family? The children were neglected. One of the siblings had to wind up stepping forward and saying, I will now be the parent for my siblings. This creates a whole dynamic in adulthood and interpersonal relationships and their own self-esteem and their own evolution. So many parents are worshiping the altar of religion and they are disconnected from their families. If we want to start seeing healing in our communities, we have to talk about religion, y'all. I'm sorry. And
yeah,
so I
yes.
know religion and politics is taboo, but I'm rolling
Those
up my sleeves. I'm like, I'm going to say it.
this
Throw the
that
darts
is
if you
those are
want.
the two things that I love to talk about.
See, Edith, you're my kind of girl because, yes, it is
I will talk
necessary.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yes,
great. Yeah.
indeed. Yes. So thank you so much for being our guest today, Nikki. Like you said, we could go for
Thank
much
you.
longer, but
Oh,
we
yeah.
do
Oh, yeah.
want people to, we want our members and our viewers to take this in. And if they need your services and they want to get involved, then there are links in the chat in order for you to do that. And we want this to be something that you explore more for
Yes.
on your own and do and definitely do more for yourself and for our community. So but thank you so much for being our guest, Nikki.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank
And,
you.
and we're
Thank you
looking
so
to
much.
collab with you all more, as far as what we plan on
Definitely.
doing and creating a network for Black trauma survivors to find all different type of resources. And this is an awesome one. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Definitely.
thank you.
Right. That was great. It was
Yes.
very informative and very poignant. A lot of the topics that she brought up. So yeah, really getting into the heart of the matter, and that's what we like to see. I wanted to mention we had a super chat by Cynthia McDonald. Thank you for that. Yeah, but yeah, let's go on and get into the upcoming events. Actually, we have something going on today, isn't that right, Mandisa? You will be with Cynthia McDonald, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep.
at 5:30 p.m. or 4:30 Central Time, live on 30 in 30 on the Skeptic Haven channel today. And that's going to be on YouTube, and the link will be in the show notes, or I'm sorry, the comments. Then
Yes.
tomorrow, Detroit, Michigan, brunch and conversation at San Marelo. That's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is, you can get more information on that by going to Black Nonbelievers of Metro Detroit. And then on October 12th in Atlanta, we've got the 3rd annual Taste of Southwest Atlanta at Greenbrier Mall. That's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern. BN will have a table, and we're still looking for volunteers. I believe I love to be a part of it, so I will see if I can. But I know we've got a couple volunteers, but maybe we need a few more.
Yes, and I actually, that is the day I travel to Nigeria. So yeah, that will be, I can probably help get like set up. But yes, the show is 30 and 60. Thank you, Cynthia. Yeah,
Okay.
so I can definitely try to help things get started, but that is the day that I travel to Lagos for the first African Free Thought Music and Arts Festival, which we will be talking about later on 30 and 60. So yes, please do, if you're in the Atlanta area. Someone spoke about volunteering and community engagement. This is it. This is what it looks like. So if you're in the area, come on out, come by our table, come and have conversations, meet fellow members, but also meet those who may have questions for us.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I think that is a good thing. And I will try to make it out there myself. So we have on October 20th, it's going to be a group photo at the Freedom from Religion Foundation billboard in downtown Atlanta, 9 Eastern at Marriott Street and Centennial Olympic Park Drive. After taking pictures, we will eat and socialize. This is a meetup event, and you can learn more about that at Meetup, Black Nonbelievers Meetup. Then further into next year, we have already some things on the calendar. March 21 through 23, 2025, we have Revival of Reason, the Homecoming, Oasis Event Center, Morrow, Georgia. More information to come. So save those dates. And then we are getting, yes, did you want to say something about that?
Oh, no. We're just, stay tuned for that. Add that to your fall and winter, like I said, spring of next year, holiday schedule, your schedule, and prepare to register and support that in the coming months.
Okay, absolutely. So we are almost ready for BNC Con 2024 from November 29th through December 5th. Join us on Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas. We're going to be stopping in Labadee, Haiti, and Falmouth, Jamaica, near Montego Bay. We have a whole host of featured speakers, including Chris Cameron, Candace Gorham, Dragnock Mims, Christy Puckett, Teddy Reeves, and more. Prices start at just $600 per person, double occupancy, and that includes your cabin fare, taxes and port fees, multiple dining options, and convention registration is also included in that. The payments are now due in full if you still want to go. Yeah, we're a little more than a month and a half out, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it looks like things are shaping up well, and I'm really excited to go. We are still seeking new board members for BN. So if you're enthusiastic, dedicated, and like to have fun while working, please apply at bit.ly BN board member. The Godless Gospel Music Project is still looking for singers. So particularly we're looking for tenors. And this is a paid opportunity. So you would want to submit your audition today. And you would submit that to godlessgospel.org. And as always, while we will keep you posted on social media and on upcoming shows about all of the different events going on. If you want to check out We Are My Dream Etsy shop and purchase your favorite crochet items. Custom pieces are available, and that's going to be at etsy.com shop We Are My Dream. Finally, if you're looking for a great gift to give at any time of the year, you can pick up a copy of Name Dropping. It's created by previous ITC or In the Cut guest and new Be and board member Deanna Williams and Jesus Reyna. Name Dropping is the frustratingly funny movie trivia card game. You can click on the link in the chat to purchase it today. And we will be also, I think we're going to bring a copy on board for the BNCCon cruise. So some things to do between the different seminars and events that we have during the conference would be a fun time. So yeah, we're I think we're getting to the closing of the show, Mandisa. That wraps up the episode. And did I miss any upcoming events?
Nope, that was it. So yes, thank you, Edith, for yes. So yes, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say, we hope you all enjoyed the show today, and please remember to go to the the GoFundMe for our organization member and help her out as soon as you can. In the meantime, as a reminder, I want to let you know that we air every first and third Saturday of each month. And please don't forget to like us, to like this video and spread the word. So you can follow us on Facebook at BlackNonbelievers, Instagram at BNonbelievers Inc. And for Twitter, we are BNonbelievers. The B and the N are capitalized. So if you want to subscribe to us on YouTube at BlackNonbelievers Inc., our channel is now monetized, and we thank you all for tuning in and supporting us. And you can find your local BN affiliate on Meetup or join all of them. Remember, we're looking for new organizers for Meetup, so be sure to complete the volunteer form on our website. And then if you want to learn more and make your tax-deductible donation to Black Nonbelievers, you can do that at blacknonbelievers.org/donate. And if you want to represent BN even more, you can get your swag on. We've got shirts, we got hoodies, we have mugs, shot glasses, and more from our online store. So you can find that at blacknonbelievers.org/store-2. And again, I want to thank you all for joining, and take care, and we will see you next time.
Before we go as well, please be sure to follow Nikki on Instagram and Facebook and check out her website at nikkigSpeaks.com. There are links in the chat if you want to join the meetups that they do that are free to attend. There are Facebook groups, and there's Find the Surviving the Black Church podcast. So there are a whole host of resources that she and her team offers. So yes, please do check those out as well. Those are in the chat and in the comment section. So yes, thank you. Oh, once again, thank you, Nikki, for joining us. Thank you, Edith, for being such a fabulous host. Thank you, Kelly, for YouTube for your moderation of the show. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.